あ、ね、マイクがオフになった。よし、やりまーす。まず、時間ね。今ちょうど真っ昼間だからこれでいこう。始める前にちょっと一言いいですか？はい。ゲームを起動した時に2回ともちゃんと時計の設定をしてくれてありがとうございます。あ、これあれっすね。1回つけたんよ。で、多分その時つけたっていうのも記録に残ってるから、ちゃんと時計の設定してくれてありがとうって言ってんだな。ほとんどの人はこのステップを真剣に捉えないんです。彼らはただ12時00のまま切り上げてしまうものです。はい。でもあなたは実際に時間を合わせてくれましたし、私はそれに感謝しているんです。それってあなたがこの体験を大切にしてちゃんと注意を払ってくれているということだと思うんです。あなたが合わせた時間が正しいかどうか知る術はないですけどね。ほら見ろ。そうだ、こうしましょう。あなたは協力的ですし、どうせだったら次にこのゲームを起動してこの画面が表示されたらあなたの一番好きな時間を設定してください。いいんか俺深夜3時とかに入れるぞ。大体そのぐらいの時間に寝るんだよな、俺。だから寝る時間が一番好きだから。深夜3時とかに設定するぞ。どうぞ、セットしたい時間を好きに選んで、正しい時間でなくても構いませんよ。あなたがちゃんと協力してくれたからですよ。よし。じゃあそろそろゲームに戻りましょうか。ちょっと待ってくれ。一発目、こんな画面なかったんだよね。ちょっと、得した気分。じゃあやりますか。ゲームを始める。はい。ちなみにこのゲーム、
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
はい。こんな
And
感
then
じ
one
で、
day, something very peculiar happened.
これちょっと黙ってくん
Something
ない
that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his
あ、
office.
もう動ける。要はこんな感じで、ナレーションが流れるゲームなんですね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
これで、会議室に行けばいいわけなんですよ。開けれないね。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
彼は左のドアに入りましたから、こっちに行けばいいんですよ。こっちに行ってみましょう。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
こんな感じで違うことをすると、ちょっと即興でナレーション合わせてくれるんですよね。これね、ちょっとやりたかったんだよな。
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
ほら、だんだんナレーションがイライラしてくるんで。やってると。これでよくクビにならんかったなとか言われたからね、しまいに。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
すげえ口説きにかかってきたな、こいつ、しまいには。さ、走れる？走れんのか。飛んだらどうなる？ここから。ほら！
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
まあ、これができるゲームなんですよね。
All of his co-workers were gone. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. What? Really?
Okay.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
死ぬほど文句言われたぞ、今。マジでみたいな。ああ、おもろいわ。これが楽しいからこのゲームはやめらんねえんだよ。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
もう赤いドアしか用意されてない。あった、青いの。
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley.
Easily.
You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
ちょっと待って。ここ行くに決まってんじゃん。
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
じゃあ俺2で。
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
行ってみるか。お。なんか増えた。これもう一回ここ行ったらどうなるの？
Again, honest answers, please.
じゃあ次一回マックス行ってみよう。
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.